I think it's interesting that the tone of Nets Republic really just depends on the video you watch and the day you're watching, honestly. Because it's like sometimes I'm accused of being overly positive, but then sometimes I'm being accused of being overly negative, and I feel like there's never really an in-between here. But today is going to be one of those videos where y'all think I'm being overly critical, and it just is what it is. I'm sorry, but when Jacque Vaughn started talking about who on his coaching staff is the cheeseburger of the group, I couldn't do it anymore. I made it about maybe 20 minutes into the press conference. I can't watch another minute. I do not care who the cheeseburger of the coaching staff is. I'm good on that. I'm sorry. I don't care. I clocked out. Couldn't do it. It's too hokey. It's too campy. I cannot do it. I am not with the corny stuff. I am so sorry. I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't care what Christian Winfield thinks. I don't care. It is too much to handle for me. I'm sorry. And the Nets, they just, like, I'm already getting a headache, and the season hasn't even started yet. It's like the 5 months I got off wasn't even enough because it's right back to the shenanigans. Did y'all hear the answers that Jacque Vaughn and Sean Marks had for the reporters today? Because I am already at a point where I'm losing my proverbial mind because it's the same thing. It's Steve Nash in a new skin. It's the same thing. These individuals do not take accountability for their actions, and we're just expected to be gaslit into thinking that our concerns aren't valid. And I'll say for the 9 millionth time, if Jacque Vaughn wants to be such a poet and a wordsmith, he should be a rapper. Drop your mixtape now and get out the front coaching seat. And after an entire summer dealing with Tanisha Wright, I thought, maybe going back to the Nets, I'll be more thankful for it. But just hearing the words that comes out of this man's mouth, it just brings it all back. It brings me back to the nightmare that we just left in April. It's the same mentality that got us swept. Did you hear what he said about Cam Thomas? They were asking, buddy, we've been talking about Mikal and Ben Simmons and Claxton and everyone. What about Cam Thomas? Is he going to get minutes or does he need to develop more? Mind you, this is year 3. It might be 4. It might be 4. I believe this is year 3 he's in the league now. They asked Mr. Sean Marks and Mr. Jacque Vaughn, what is the update? What is the Cam Thomas update for the Cam Thomas Hive? And you know what he gave the girls? You know what he gifted us? Well, this goes for everyone, not just specifically Cam Thomas. But if you're going to get minutes, or if you feel like you should be, and I am quoting him word for word, I'm not even paraphrasing, this is what he said. If anyone feels like they deserve to be playing minutes, they have to be able to play on both sides of the ball. And whoever is out there playing on both sides of the ball will be rewarded with the appropriate minutes. So when we got swept in the first round, 2 years in a row, I'll ignore the Boston series because that was Steve Nash. So when we got swept a couple months ago in the first round, you're telling me everyone that got minutes was playing on both sides of the ball. Is that what you're telling me? We got swept. We could not have been playing that good at defense if we got swept. We could not have been playing that amazing offensively if we got swept. Wrong. I'm not accepting it. I am not accepting that answer. Now, you can keep the same energy with Ben Simmons all you want, but keep the same energy with Spencer Dinwiddie. And they sat there and pressed him on it too. They said, we playing that game. So you tell me, Mr. Jacque, if it's not guaranteed that Ben Simmons is starting, you want to sandbag this man. You want to pull the rug from out under this man and kill his momentum. Acting like Ben Simmons went into business for himself or something like that. want to say in your little preseason scrum, you want to say that with Spencer Dinwiddie, that you feel like there are going to be good times where him and Ben Simmons are out there together, because Spencer Dinwiddie is going to hit threes and he's better at catch and shoot statistically because he was next to Luka. So that is how that combination is going to work. So one of the reporters pressed this man, Jacque Vaughn, and said, excuse me, you must have thought we weren't watching last season. Because last season, when he was with us, Spencer Dinwiddie shot 27% from three. 27% from three. And we all know he don't play a lick of defense. But Cam Thomas can't get minutes because he don't play defense. He scored 50 points 2 games in a row. Or was it 40? I've genuinely forgotten. But whatever he did, it's been so long since he played, you'll have to forgive me. He played out of his mind beyond the stars and back. Then you take him out of the starting lineup. We never see him play again, basically, because you get some new shiny toys. But Spencer's going to get that shooting guard role if Ben Simmons plays up to the standards that Jacque Vaughn wants. And the Ben Simmons stuff is getting weird. It's getting really, really weird. This man, Jacque Vaughn, said that he was asking Ben Simmons to do things last year that he was not physically able to do. Now, again, these are not loose quotes. This is what Jacque said. He was asking Ben Simmons to do things last year that he couldn't physically do. What is going on? What could have been asked of Ben Simmons that he physically cannot do? I can only think of one thing. And my God, the implications it would have just on the whole organization as a whole. I know that Jacque Vaughn is hyper-focused on this shoot a million threes thing. Like, that's just his solution to everything. The only thing I can think of that Ben Simmons did not do that could have been asked from Jacque Vaughn based on how Jacque Vaughn runs the team is shoot a million threes. And if Ben Simmons not being able to shoot threes is the reason why we have waning confidence in him in terms of the coaching staff, it's not even worth making videos anymore because this man is clueless. That would be like if you had Shaq and you were just like, you know what? Shaq can't play if he doesn't hit his foul shots. Shaquille O'Neal. LeBron James can't play this game until he has a proper hairline. What? And even the whole ideology of this Ben Simmons puzzle. This great Tinker Toy set, this Da Vinci Code of the Ben Simmons matter. We have lost the plot on him entirely. If Ben Simmons is healthy, you just have him run the team as the point guard. It is not that hard. It is not that serious. And I don't know if maybe everyone has just like taken these jokes on the internet too far. Maybe Twitter's becoming real life or something like that. But it is not that hard to figure out what you do with Ben Simmons. If he is healthy, you just give him the ball and everyone else operates around him. The fact that this man has to sit back in his proverbial office chair and look to the ceiling and say, the idea of Ben Simmons and Claxton playing together is just such a... What is the holdup? What is the problem? What is the head scratcher of having Ben Simmons and Claxton on the floor at the same time? Because if you ask me, that's Lob City 2.0. I want to know what is so difficult about forming a game plan around that. until you remember who we're talking about. We're talking about Jacque Vaughn, and Jacque Vaughn's only game plan whatsoever, his only game plan whatsoever is shoot a million threes. So I guess when your game plan is shoot a million threes, you would be concerned about the spacing of Ben Simmons and Claxton on the floor. Need I remind everyone who is watching this video, and every human being worldwide who just happens to come across this video, or hears the sound of my voice, that it was the Brooklyn Nets who traded every single three-point shooter we had. From Watanabe to Seth Curry, all of them are gone because the Nets decided to make that decision. So the fact that you have gotten rid of every single three-point shooter we have, with the exception of, I guess, Mikal, technically Cam Thomas, and Cam Johnson. You've gotten rid of every other shooter. I know individuals can score. I know Finney Smith allegedly hits a three every now and again. I know Royce O'Neal can hit threes here and there. But I'm talking about shooters, because you sent away everyone who is a three-point specialist, and we don't know if we're getting Tyler Hero or not. You don't switch up your game plan. And again, it goes back to a lack of accountability, because going back to the things he was saying about Spencer Dinwiddie, he was trying to throw Spencer under the bus. This man, Jacque Vaughn, was trying to throw Spencer under the bus, saying that the reason why the catch and shoot numbers were significantly higher and the reason why everything else was so low, therefore tanking Spencer Dinwiddie's overall three-point average, is because he got a lot of his buckets off of ISO ball, off of dribbling the ball a lot and just throwing something up. He says that as if it's not Jacque Vaughn telling him what to do out there. He says that as if Spencer Dinwiddie just hijacks the team and says, no, I'm going to take this three. I'm going to look off the coach and I'm going to take this three. We're talking about a coach who allegedly has a system in place where if you don't play on both sides of the ball, you don't play at all. So I don't buy the fact that Spencer Dinwiddie is calling his own number and shooting us out of games. Because from what I remember, a certain bald bum with a salt and pepper beard is going out there telling us that the game plan is shooting a million threes. So if Ben Simmons is not available because he's hurt or whatever the reason is this week, and you have Spencer Dinwiddie out there hoisting up a million threes because the game plan is shoot a million threes, I want you to tell me how that's Spencer Dinwiddie's fault. I believe he's literally doing what you're asking. Now, under Jason Kidd or whoever was the coach down there with Luka, I'm sure they had legitimate game plans. And even if it was just ISO Luka, it was a heliocentric offense to where Luka is just kicking the ball out at his slow molasses pace with his gelatinous self to get everyone open for three. Now again, Jacque Vaughn could take the same approach with Ben Simmons, minus the step back shooting, of course, and just have Ben Simmons go at his own pace and kick it out to open shooters. But no, he didn't say that. He simply threw this man under the bus and said, well, that's because Spence has been taking wild shots. He does it because you told him to, because there is no game plan in place. When was the last time you heard Jacque Vaughn say pick and roll? When was the last time he mentioned a set of some kind? The closest to any form of detail to a plan of action for this man is that when you have Claxton and Ben Simmons on the floor, you might need to move a little bit to the right or move a little bit to the left. What play is that? But no, we have to hear about who is the cheeseburger of the coaching staff. This is a joke. This is a literal joke. Acknowledge the fact that last year we went into the season with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant and Ben Simmons, and it ended how it did. Acknowledge the fact that we were not able to keep a healthy enough culture or environment to keep the necessary individuals that we needed to keep. Sean Marks acknowledged the fact that the definition of culture changes every single year with you. Even Mr. Culture himself and Ben Simmons' emotional pet Patty Mills gets traded away. I want you to define what culture really means. Answer the question. What does culture really mean, Sean Marks? And I want a realistic answer to what the game plan is here. I don't want to hear the shenanigans of, oh, you never know. We have to see what these young guys are going to do and blah, 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 blah. No, I'm tired. I'm tired of the canned responses. I'm tired of the cliches. And most importantly, I want results. When asked, did you acquire a lot of people at the same position to encourage competition? And Sean Marks immediately pipes up and says, oh, yes, of course. Of course he's going to say yes to that. Let's rephrase the question, y'all. I mean, they'll never let Nets Republic be in that space and ask some real questions. I'm sure you'd rather just listen to Christian Winfield. I feel like as reporters, we're letting them get away with a lot of nasty stuff. We need to ask the right questions. And also, it is clear to me that Ben Simmons is the new Kyrie. Every other question is Ben Simmons this, Ben Simmons that. Can we talk about Lonnie Walker maybe? Like there are so many more interesting storylines going on this team, and we're just always focused on Ben Simmons, but cool. I have one major concern going into the season. We'll address this on multiple occasions as the season goes on, but I am concerned with the fact that certain things were not addressed, that Jacque Vaughn is still talking about he's perfectly fine running small ball when we are clearly too small and too weak. The fact that when you ask about, who the go-to centers are, you're still saying Day'Ron Sharpe. The fact that Sean Marks is saying things like there's no catch-all person you can acquire that helps us defensively. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Y'all are choosing to not get Dwight Howard. Like y'all are choosing to not be aggressive to go get a Steven Adams or something, or someone of that ilk. JaVale McGee is like floating around every single year, and y'all won't pull the trigger on that. But you'll like hand off a Norvell Pell on a 10-day and not let him play, and then say, oh yeah, cool. Like, you know what I mean? I am over it. I'm tired of Jacque Vaughn saying the same thing every year. I'm tired of him not taking any accountability for his failures. Like, I'm just really, really, really over it. I'm really, really over it. But the main thing I'm concerned about is the simple fact that even though I feel like they cheated with answering this question because it was a lead-in, I cannot name a single team where defensive intensity and having a competitive atmosphere has resulted in meaningful winning. I cannot name you a single team. Like, if you want to go teams of that nature, when D-Rose went down, the Chicago Bulls, but I mean, they had an emerging Jimmy Butler. Is Chicago Jimmy Butler the equivalent of Mikal Bridges? I wouldn't say so. I mean, I would definitely say Claxton and Joakim Noah are one and alike, but and like, how far did they get? You know what I mean? How far did they get without D-Rose? I mean, y'all know more than anyone. If I'm not mistaken, we like knocked them out the playoffs a couple times, right? Like, didn't we have a series against them at one point? Like, that didn't go anywhere. You can't even say like grit and grind era Memphis because they had Marc Gasol, I believe it was Marc, yeah. Marc Gasol, they had Zebo, and then they had Mike Conley, you know? Tony Allen was really your only, like, lock. You know what I mean? Like, I can't think of a single team that is constructed the way we are, where this ends positively for us. And the Eastern Conference got better. You know, I don't see how this works out for us. I am here for it. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see what Mikal Bridges does with all this. And there are a lot of people that, again, here come the cliches, that have chips on their shoulder. So it's going to be interesting to see who emerges. And, you know, inevitably someone is going to get injured. So the people who might not be talked about much, like a Dennis Smith Jr., is going to have a chance to shine. You know, who knows what's going to happen. I'm looking at a lot of defensive players and Mikal and Cam Johnson. And I know Cam Thomas won't play. And it's just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? You know? It's almost as if the Nets wanted to make some major trade, but it didn't work. And now we're trying to backtrack and be like, no, this was the plan all along. That's what it's giving to me personally. But hey, who knows? Maybe I'm being overly negative. I never bought what the Nets front office were trying to sell during the super team era, and I still don't buy it now. I am waiting to be proven wrong about this team, and that the glaring issues that we have will be solved, but that's yet to happen. When we were all offense and no defense, we knew that was going to be a problem, and it was. Now that we're all defense with no offense, where's the part where that got solved? And again, there are so many simple things you can do to address that, really. There's so many things you can do to address that. Dishing out Spencer Dinwiddie, I don't even know why we got him back to begin with, but dishing out Spencer Dinwiddie to get something else back could have helped us a little bit in the three-point shooting arena. But you've got a go-to hot hand in Cam Thomas right there. And you drafted him too. It's not like it was a random free agent acquisition who just didn't work out. You drafted him. Day'Ron Sharpe being in a more positive light than Cam Thomas in the eyes of our head coach. What? And if you want to really have this defensive identity, if you really want to lock in, if you really just want to just have this be the case, you got to look at Claxton like people used to look at Rudy Gobert before the pandemic. There needs to be an understanding that Claxton is that driving force. Claxton is that presence that will anchor that defense. And he can't just be seen as like a support character. I feel like the coaching staff treats Claxton like he's just a support character, right? He's just going to come in and he's going to heal your main real quick and then he's going to jump off screen somewhere. No, Claxton's a main character. If we have a big three right now, who it should be, Mikal, Cam Thomas, Claxton. Who it is, Mikal, Cam Johnson, and Ben Simmons. And I don't think that's going to work how the Nets think it will. But let me know your thoughts down below. I've talked way too long. My voice is already hoarse, and I got to record vocals tomorrow. So I guess I'll see y'all later. Feel free to tell me down below how I'm being overly negative, and then we'll do this again in a year, and I'll tell you all about how I was right.